for positions, and there are women who are also vying for positions. But all too often, all we hear is women organizer and organizer here. Well, how about the presidential slot? Why is no woman going for the vice chairmanship or the general secretary? And that's what the conversation was about. Stay tuned and enjoy. Thank you for granting us this interview. And viewers, as I said, Susan Edu Amankwa, she's already sort of broken the glass ceiling. Susan, we're talking about women and politics, and we're just trying to find out, number one, should women be in politics? If they are in politics, should they play the supporting role because they are good supporters? Or should they break the ceiling and be out there with the boys? So I'll start with, should women be in politics, Susan?
Definitely, women should be in politics. Politics is about the administration of resources, how resources will be shared equitably. Politics is about, making sure that the common good is achieved for everybody. And women being part of society. And very important, and a large part, it's important that they are right there in the thick of things and helping to ensure that things are done equitably. And so to ensure equilibrium, in society and ensure that things do move well and that development achieves what it's supposed to be or what it's supposed to achieve, women must be in politics.
Biologically, you're a pharmacist, so you will know, biologically and socially, aren't there too many natural stumbling blocks or obstacles in front of women which will prevent you to, give 100%?
Well, you can give 100%. Biologically, we're not the weaker sex. As people, no. we are the hardier species of the two, if you look at it, more men die off. Women have genes that protect them, or they have hormones that protect them against, heart attacks at younger ages. I think so. The female egg survives, is stronger than the male sperm, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. So we are a hardy species. What society has done is to take our biological makeup and exaggerate its importance to a certain level that hinders our progress. For instance, the child caring role, ensures that we are unable maybe to have the same amount of time or focus if we wanted to do something. But that is society made, not because of our biological makeup, because it takes two to make a parent. Once the child is born, he has two parents. It's not the mother who is carrying the child alone. So, it's society and the culture that has made the child care role so prominent in a woman's life that doesn't allow her. And it doesn't mean she cannot. For instance, two people come out of university, a male and a female. They're both 25 years. They get married. The male gets married, but he goes into politics because he has a wife who is looking after the child. Mm-hmm. Now she, is the one carrying the baby. The other person is 25 also. She gets married. She's the one carrying the baby. The baby's small. They say, oh, look after your baby. So, she's there 4 or 5 years. In 4 or 5 years, the man is still in politics. He's gained an experience. She's looking after the child. Oh, your child is small. 10 years, oh, your child is small, maybe 15 years. Now you think that the child is old enough. The man would have 15 years experience of you, over you, and then you now have to start from scratch. It's society's role, because if she had a husband who said, look, you go out there, I will take care of the child, as well as any mother would, as well as I am capable of, she could go there and compete and gain the same amount of experience. But because society has given her that role and exaggerated that role to that extent, then that's why she doesn't get the experience. But once they get in, into politics, they can have the same drive and the same focus and still achieve whatever they want to in attaining the highest position.
Naturally, you would bring your female children up to play supportive roles. Naturally, we
really
tend to bring female daughters up to play supportive roles. The whole society would, like even if you went to a bank, and there's one professor who went to a bank and apparently gave the check to a counter, and the woman says, "Oh, where is your husband?" But it was her, because she'd written this professor, Jemai. So then where's your husband? You can't cash your husband's check. She then has to go back and say, "No, indeed, my husband is not even a professor." So it's a whole societal thing. How do we break this, for female? And indeed, when females get there, they don't even pull other females along with them. So you are the only one hanging out there.
Okay, no, let me first say, it's not naturally, it's society created. So we can't break it. It's not a natural thing that women play supportive role. It's a societal thing, because the supportive roles, it's both ways. The male also has to support. It's his role also to support his, because you are partners in it. And so, society has, how would I put it, over enhanced the supportive role of the female, such that she has to take a back seat. But it doesn't make you less feminine if you want to go forward, and you want to be there. You want to take the decisions yourself. You want to assert your opinion and ensure that it's heard. It doesn't make you less feminine. It's society that is trying to force that. Well, if you do that, then you are becoming like a man, But I think that if we say that our mothers are important to us, that our mothers are the ones who are who have made us who we are because they nurtured us, then we have to realize that the leadership role of a woman is a nurturing one, but it doesn't make it subservient to the leadership role of a man, or make it supportive. It's just a different type of leadership. It's more of a nurturing one, where the leadership is more like walk alongside me, but there's always a leader there who gives direction and shows the way. But it looks like it's an alongside one, where the follower is alongside. The issue about women not pulling other women up, it's also because, yes, we don't have a critical mass of women there. Women do, women do pull other women up. The other day, I had somebody make a very fantastic comment about our CJ, the Chief Justice, that she's done a lot for the women in the judiciary. That is another woman pulling other women up. But we are yet to have that critical mass where it doesn't make it an exceptional woman who's just there, but exceptional women who are there, The thing is, with men, you look at it as a right to be there, Oh, it's our right to be there. It's our right to be there, because culturally we have been taught that it's not our right to be there. Other women view you also with suspicion.
Let me come in. Are there things that, or are there roles that you say, this is a man's role, this is a woman's role? Are you saying that no, everybody can play any role? There must be a role that you say, no, this should be a man's job, or no, that's a woman's job.
There are roles. Definitely, there have to be roles. There are roles. You do A, B, C, I will do A, B, C. But it doesn't mean that we cannot change roles depending on the situation in which we find ourselves. That we should all be equipped to deal with situations when they arise, even if the roles should switch. you know. You said people bring up their daughters to take the back seat. Unfortunately, I have a daughter, but I haven't brought her up to take the back seat.
She's way up there with the boys.
I mean, it wasn't. Well, I think she was born that way. But for me, I come from a family of all girls, so we never even had the issue of boys did this and girls did this. There were chores to be done. Somebody had to do it, and you did it. And it wasn't because it was a boy's chore or it was a girl's chore. I went to a girls' school, so, it sort of just continued. That I came onto my own, not expecting that I'm capable of doing this. If I'm not capable of doing it, it's because I don't have the skill or the talent. But it could be another girl or it could be a man. It could be anybody who had the skill to do it. And so I think that that is how it should be. There are roles, all right. You play this particular role, you do A, B, C, and D because you are better skilled to do it. I do X, Y, and Z because I am better skilled to do it. But I may have minor skills in A, B, C, and D, and you may have minor skills in X, Y, Z. So I think that is how it is. We want order. And in order, everybody must play a part, not everybody doing everything, because I can't do everything, and I don't know everything.
What were you, in politics, because you're frontline politics, what were your personal challenges that you think, maybe if I was a man, I wouldn't have gone through these challenges? Did you have any challenges along your struggles?
Not really. The challenges that I faced were everyday challenges that I go through with even a petrol station attendant who thinks I'm female, so he can serve the male customer even if I got there a third second before him. So for me, it wasn't that it was politics per se.
Okay.
It was because culturally that's how things, But of course, I belong to a party also where the role of women was always important, because Nkrumah said it was the woman that had, put him where he was. It's a woman who fed him and clothed him. They were his strongest and his staunchest supporters, and they were with him in the thick of things, So I had that background, where I came to a party and it didn't matter whether I was a woman or a man. If I espoused things that they could agree with, or I said things that reflected them, and then it was okay. It didn't matter whether I was female or male. So I hear stories from my colleagues in the other parties where it's very male dominated, and I hear stories and I'm like, oh, really? Because I didn't get a lot of that in the party that I...
See, but generally, as soon as you hear women in politics, it's going to be a woman organizer, it's going to be this organizer, women's wing, that wing, and then at most, a vice president. It's very rare for you to see a woman say, I am going for the kill. Well, I think Akuya Dansoa, tried, but, very rarely would you find, one of these big parties, a woman say, I am going for the kill. Then they normally go and play the number 2 role. It's as if naturally, I'm not going to try for the top gun.
Well, yeah, we have what the researchers out there call the ambition gap, and they found out that women really they don't sometimes aspire for the highest offices, because they either feel that, well, this is not where I'm supposed to be, or I'm not well equipped for it, and I'm not confident enough, and so they don't aspire for that. They are just okay with the level, and then of course they have the obstacles also. So the first obstacle being themselves. For me, like I said, when I wanted a position first in my party, I started off as the treasurer, which was a very female role, Then I looked at things and I said, if this is what the regional chairman does, I can be regional chairman. And so I went and, and I became regional chairman. So, big deal. Regional chairman. I looked at what I was capable of doing. I would not be a good organizer, you know. And so it never even occurred to me to go and, you know, vie for that position. So I assessed myself and said, what can I do and do well? And I felt that this was well. I mean, the issue of being the vice chair, you know, I assessed myself. I'd done the regional chairmanship. I'd been there, done that, you know. What else could I do? And so I moved on. And I'm not a very, well, people would not agree, but I'm a very shy person. I was just people so, what is she talking about?
You know?
But I look at it and say, but why should that hold me back? You know, and so I said, okay, that is one thing. Shouldn't hold me back, and then I just go for it and I do it. And like all women, I struggle with confidence issues. But I said, but really, what's the worst that can happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, say no or to brush you aside, and I'll take that. So I'll risk my chances. Most of us women are not big risk takers. Mm-hmm. You know, men have much more risky behavior. Men have been cultured into believing that it is their right to be there. You know, and we have not been socialized that way. That is our right to be there. So for us to jump that gap, and it's all part of the ambition gap, to jump it where you feel that you have the right to be there, you know, then you'd find more women coming into politics. But it's basically coming from our socialization.
Okay, I'm going to take a break here, and then when I come back, even in the advanced world, women are struggling with the number one position. How is it ever going to happen in that side of the world? Stay tuned. Well, let's continue our conversation. Just before we went to the break, I was talking about the advanced world. Now, if you look at America, the cradle or the signature of all things civilized, now they would rather have a black man as a president rather than a woman, you know, and obviously, you know, there's racism prevalent in America. Yet still, they'd rather go for a black man than a woman. So you don't think that coming to Ghana, and then we also have our, you know, chauvinist tendencies. You know, every Omahine is a man, supported directly by my queen mother, so she's my number one advisor. She's the only one that can reprimand me in public. So she does have a lot of power, but she's just not in the main seat. Even though she nominates me and everything, she has all the powers, but the seat itself. And I'm just looking at the broader picture in modern day politics. Is it still there where, look, you can do everything but not that seat?
Well, it's still there. But I've heard one historian talk that thing where the man sort of seems the head was not, it's a foreign thing to us. Mm-hmm. In the very past, it was the females, the women who had the power, as a woman who, you know, were the ones who took decisions and ensured, you know, the queens, and they had female chiefs and things who were very powerful. Now, when the colonialists came in, you know, and they wanted to colonize, they came with their background where men were and women were subservient. Mm-hmm. And then they also came, and then they were able to have this boys thing and say, hey, you want these women to treat you, you know, and men have ego. You know, have a lot of ego. So when they started putting that in their heads, they said, no, we can't allow the women to take the decisions. And then that role reversed. So for us, it hasn't really been the most, it's part of the foreign things that we learned and have moved on with, or so the historians say. Yeah. And so, you know, we've learned that. And now the male ego is there and saying that, okay, we are not reversing that. You know, I will listen to you, I will take your decisions, but I'm going to be the face, and I'm going to be the, you know, how would I put it? The image, okay. You know, the front line. And women have rolled over and accepted it, you know. But some also believe that there's a lot of power in that. You have some women who believe that there's a lot of power in the back row, where you know, they can push, and you know, because you look at it, a lot of the kings, especially in Europe and things, in fact, their queens and or especially their mistresses,
press all the buttons.
Pressed all the buttons and ensure that things, went a certain way. But we think that, yes, that power is okay, but it's, it's not always apparent, or it's not always useful, and sometimes you must be in there and ensuring that your voice is heard, your face is seen, because it encourages all the others, of your like, that we are capable, that we are equals. You talk about America. Yes, they haven't even signed the Equality Act, where men and women are equal. I mean, I'm sure till recently there were men and women who, of the same qualification, doing the same job, women were paid less than men. I don't think we ever had that here, where women were paid less for the same job, But America had it. I won't be surprised if they still have it in certain places. So the struggle is everywhere. The struggle is everywhere, whether in the Western world or whether in the African continent.
Let me go back. Let me go back to Ekuadonko. I think I said that on Sweden. Sorry, but it's Ekuadonko is what I mean. And I think Nana Kunedu Rawlings, well, obviously she couldn't make past the first hurdle, but both women never made past the first hurdle. But what if they had gotten there? Would the average voter say, yes, this is who I want to be president, or that woman factor will come to play against, oh, please, I don't want to, I'm not going to vote for her because she's a woman?
Well, for the two of them, the woman factor will be one of the reasons, will be one of the reasons. But I think that it would not be all the reasons, I think if you're going to vote for somebody, maybe because I'm a woman, I don't look at the sex first. I look at, what is he saying that strikes a chord with me? And what does he have in his makeup that ensures that whatever he's saying, I believe it? That is how I would look at it. I would hope that most people would look at our politicians in that light, that does this person strike a chord with me? Does he say things that I can associate with? Not only that, apart from saying the good things, what does he bring that will ensure that the things that he said happens? That should be the first case. Now, with Ekuadonko and Ekuadonko, I wouldn't think that the female thing was the first thing. I think we have a certain image of how a president should be, and it's not just a male image, but it has to be, you have to be well-spoken, you have to be extremely knowledgeable in a lot of things, you ought to have a certain demeanor about you. And I think that those were some of the things that would have gone against her, including the female factor. The same with Nana Kunedu Rawlings. She had a history with the NDC of being a very powerful person and may have stepped on toes. In fact, it's rumored that some of the things that her husband did that people think he's such a good man were because she instigated him to do it. So that would have worked against her, apart from the female factor. So the female factor is there, all right. But I think that for the two of them, they had also other issues that would have worked against them. But everybody has issues, and we just have to ensure that even the issues, are something that we can say we can deal with these ones and not let them, and especially the female factor. It should not be the biggest issue. But you're right, we are not ready. And this. Not in this country alone, but worldwide, for powerful women, for assertive women, for women who are in the boys' club, so to speak, sitting with the men and, saying it as it should be said. We're really not ready, you know. We say it, you know, oh, women's isn't. But when it comes to, we don't do it.
Taking it from not ready, what's the public perception? Is it just basically go home and be a missus, go home and look after the children? What's the public perception? Why aren't we ready? We've gone to school enough?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I think that society has to change the way they think, and that might take time. You need something too big to happen. I don't know. You know, in the past they said when you know, the men went to war and all the men died, then the women took over. No, you want something cataclysmic, something like that. No, but for it to change, we don't need that. You know, you know, it's very difficult for people to give up positions of power. Mm-hmm. You know, because power is sweet. You know, so for people to give up position of power, so you know, the men, it has to be wrestled from them.
See, but then again, I take Kwame Nkrumah, who's, you know, and he came up with his affirmative action and said no, women should be represented, and so in '61 he says no, 10 women in parliament, you know, all representing their regions. Why didn't we follow? Why did we think it was a waste of time? Because, I mean, he must have seen something. Now, listen, you empower these women and we're moving forward. Why haven't generations after followed?
Well, I think that for Nkrumah, it wasn't just that. We destroyed a lot of the things that he stood for, because when we said we didn't want him, then we didn't even want to see his shadow. Nothing. So everything was destroyed. It's only now that we're coming back to realize that, look, he had a vision for Ghana and a vision for Africa that is timeless, and that would have propelled us to be where we rightfully have to be, not where we are, you know, dodging now. But, I mean... so for me, I think that was it. Mm-hmm. We're coming back to it, but like I said, it's difficult to give up positions. You see, any woman to be in a particular position that a man can be, you have to be 10 times that man, you know, because you really, really have to justify over and over and over and over again why you are there, you know. And that makes it tough for women, you know, because she may be as good as the man, but she has to be 10 times better than that man to be in that position, you know. And some people just say, what is it? So we do need affirmative action. You know, we really need the affirmative action. I know we don't want to go and fight for the 27 seats and say, oh, men should this thing. But we should do what Nkrumah did. We have seats that are for women, and then women compete for it. You are there for a term of office. Then you can go out, like it should be like a grooming ground. Then you can go out and go and compete for the 275 and let other women come in. I think that would be good. You know, because no party right now want to say, even if it's a safe seat, they'll say, no, come and fight with it. If you are talking about equality, then come and fight with it. So they are not prepared to give that up. But if we had 10 seats, okay, all the parties bring women to compete for these 10 seats, then you know that whatever happens, you have 10 extra women who will join. The following 4 years, they move over, they go fight for other seats somewhere, then you bring a new crop in. And I think that is how maybe we need to do affirmative action, but we do need affirmative action.
See, because since 93 to date, percentage-wise, between 9, maximum 11% representation, and it's not a lot.
No,
it's not a lot. And is that the number, or because it then looks like this is the level of acceptance which we have now, a 10% acceptance. And with the education and free education and everything that we have up to today, if we haven't gone past 10%, then maybe this is it. This is the lot for women, 10% acceptance.
No, but we shouldn't accept it. I think that we should strive for better. and move higher. We're capable. We're just as capable. It's a really dirty fight out there, and a lot of women shy away, like I said, from it. But it's not because they cannot be good MPs. Even though I hear people say, well, fighting for it is part of their, But she has something good to contribute without that fight, and that, an election is emotionally exhausting, is financially draining, is physically debilitating. The woman can do the physical one because she works hard. The financial one is a tough one because a lot of women do not still have the economic resource that men have. For instance, if I were to go out to solicit for money, he'd say, "Oh, okay, let's do lunch," and then we do lunch, and then he's talking. So, okay, you come tomorrow, let's do dinner. If his male friend went there, they are not doing lunch and doing dinner. He's not dilly-dallying,
How much do you need?
He says, bottom line, how much you need? Can you win? What am I getting back in this thing? With you, he wants to get back now with doing lunch and possibly doing other things, And you don't want to go through that hassle. So fundraising becomes such a, I don't know.
Daunting task.
It becomes such a daunting task because you don't, you look at a man and you're like, damn, I don't want him to touch me. I don't want to do lunch with him. Why is he wasting my time? And let's do lunch and let's do, And he doesn't do that with his male, this thing. Either he will give it to me or he won't give it to him. But he may, so women find it difficult raising the money that is required for our kind of politics in this country, because our politics is money. There's so much monetization of our politics. So women find it difficult raising, the funds, because unless you are independently wealthy, you definitely have to raise funds, and women find it difficult. So you will not find a lot of women competing in the first place. And that is one of the hindrances to getting the 10% that we are getting. That's why I said we need affirmative action where we may not need that kind of money to get there, and it saves us all the whatever we go through.
When I come back, I'm not looking about the supportive role of the man, because I come from, honey, where am I? I mean, Bole Bamboy. Where are you now? I mean, Wale. Please, where's my dinner on the table? Thank you. Well, just before we went on the break, I was just asking that, you turn up home and you're hungry and, you have the kids running around and the missus is in Bole Bamboy or is in Takwa, which is literally 4, 5, 6 hours away from home. I mean, Susan, it can be daunting for us men, or for the average man thinking, oh, where is she now? And she's here. And then you read the news and they hear, there was a clash between the NPP and the NDC, as they always do, and my wife is somewhere in the arena or the town before it. She's not going to call you and say, yeah, go on, girl, you can do it. She's going to say, look, get back home here. We are okay as it is. We don't need any power to do anything. How have you had support from, your husband?
Well, but, Nana, women also call their husbands and tell them that, hey, please, come home. What is all this? Leave it and come. They do it, so...
It goes both ways.
It goes both ways because she's also hearing about the skirmishes and she's wondering. And here there are so many women who, when their husbands are even vying for bigger positions, are like, this is so, and would rather they would not, and rather would have a quiet life and things like that. So it's also there, and it's okay to once in a while be doubtful about what you are doing or what your wife is doing or what your husband is doing, about whether it's worth it. But I think that if you know the person and you realize that this is something that this person was born to do, or the person is in their niche and they can do it well, I think that even if you have misgivings and worries, you can once in a while express them, but most of the time support that person. Because if you have an unhappy person at home, you will be also unhappy. If you know that these are the things that my wife thrives on, and she's there and she wants to be in the thick of things, and you keep her at home and it will make her unhappy, she will be unhappy at home and you will end up being unhappy. And it's the other way round also. For me, my husband is giving me a long chain. He yanks it once in a while, so just to ensure that I know that
you're still at the end of it.
But basically, he's been supportive. You will not see him at rallies with me. Hell no, that one freezes over. But maybe I would say, oh, my car is. I'm short of petrol, and he will give me a look, but he will give me the money to buy the petrol to go to the rally, or you buy me the ticket to go to, the travel or whatever. He would do it. So the support is there, so you're comfortable knowing that there's somebody, who is taking care. And I always say, I sometimes. Men, we forget that we are also parents too. So, one is supposed to take care of the children.
With current perception on politicians, every politician has been tarred with the same brush as corrupt. He's just trying to vie to power to go and steal our money. And women normally shy away from all these unnecessary things. Let me just stay in a clean and narrow. So why would a woman in today's age even want to go into this filthy, dirty environment?
Because it's not filthy. It's not dirty. But let me tell you a joke. They said the reason why there are few female politicians is that they can't put makeup on two different faces. Politicians are two faces. So the woman can't put makeup on two faces.
So she comes as she is.
It's difficult, doing this and then doing the other one. No, but you see, politics would only change if more good people go in. Because politics by itself is not a bad thing. It's not a dirty thing. It's the people who go in that will either make it bad or it's dirty. It's neutral. But you're going there for the common good of people. You're going there so that when they are taking decisions, you can take part in that decision for the common good, And so if you go in with that mind that I have the power to do good as one person, in my small corner. But if I get into politics and I get into a certain position, I have the power to do good for thousands of people. Some people may want to do it in the corporate way, but some people feel that in politics that is the way to go about. And I think that some of us do go in with that belief. Yes, money can corrupt you, maybe along the line, certain things can corrupt you, but I think that people don't, there are a lot of good people also in politics who have gone in to do the best that they can do to ensure that the common good is achieved. And so it's, for me, even though we've been all tarred by the same brush, I sometimes I really don't care, because when you get to know me, I will prove to you that I don't belong to that group, But let me get in. You see, let me get in, and then I can prove you wrong and justify that there's good out there.
So here you are championing the cause of women and the need to have women in a front row to make a positive impact. Who am I to even disagree with that? It's very true. And then the other side, we have Victoria Hammer, unfortunately, being caught having a private conversation. And because it's a private conversation, she's as sincere as possible. Basically saying that, we are just here to fill in the gaps. This one is there for their beauty. That one is there to sleep with that one. That one is there to sleep with this one. And indeed, we are just... So then it confirms our perception. Yanka, they are just in there, to fill in the gaps. So how do we, which is the truth? What she said in private, or, what you were saying? Which is the truth about women in politics?
No, but Professor Nana, the Minister for Education, is she there to fill the gap? Is she there as a trophy?
No, she's not.
She's definitely not there as a trophy. Mm-hmm. She's not there to just fill the gap, because they could have picked anybody else and put some, Mm-hmm. So when you get there, you prove it wrong. In some instances, maybe they assess themselves and think that we are here because we are trophies. But there are a lot of women out there are not there because they are trophies. What would make it more meaningful, so that they're not there to fill in the gaps, is to put in more competent, more capable women, more women who are professional in their outlook and will do the right thing. And they are there. So you just need to fish them out and put them there. And a critical mass, if we get them there, then you will stop saying that it's tokenism. Mm-hmm. If it's just one or two, and you don't put them there for the right reasons, then of course it will give credence to that we are there as trophies and things like that. So the important thing is to put a pretty face there, all right, but a pretty face with brains, a pretty face who's capable. A lot of men think sometimes that if you are pretty, you must be stupid. I mean, if you are pretty, pretty and brainy are not supposed to not supposed to go together, or pretty and glamorous looking are not supposed to go together, But I don't think that's the way God works. He can put a brain in a pretty face. He can put a brain in whatever face he chooses to put there. So, don't look at just the cover. Look at the content, mm-hmm. And assess the person by the content. If it comes in a pretty cover, that's all well and good. If the cover is not so pretty, that's all well and good. What you want is the brain, the capability, the passion for the job, and I think that's how it should look. So, some of us will be there for our pretty face, but we want to be chosen for our brain, for our capabilities, for the passion that we'll bring to the job.
Now, there are more women voters than there are men. Mm. Now, women will be obviously jealous because she thinks it's pretty. So the men would then come in and vote. Men would not want to give you the power because then you dominate over them. The women who could have made you this are also sitting home thinking, well, she thinks she's going to get my vote. So then, where do we go from there with this dilemma, where the women won't even vote for the women who are vying for the top position?
Yeah. So as women, we need to work on our group consciousness. The fact that you and I are women and we have the same biological makeup does not necessarily mean that automatically we'll have a group consciousness, and that we will reflect each other. Because I may look in the mirror, but I'm not reflecting you, or you look in the mirror and I don't reflect you. And if I don't reflect you, you will not vote for me. Mm-hmm. As women, we need to build that group consciousness where we ought to recognize that, to men, we're all second-class citizens. That alone is enough to show that when I stand in the mirror, I am you and you are me. Mm-hmm. For us, that group consciousness of where we, automatically, by virtue of our sex, it is assumed that we can't cut it. We should have that consciousness. And we need to build on that as a woman. We should also need to realize that we can take care of each other. And, we sometimes think, it's only a man that can take care of it. No, we should build that consciousness that we are sisters.
The few
and it's only then when we build that consistency with that group consciousness that because we are thought to be second class, when we actually are not second class, vote for me so that I can prove to them that we're not second class, we're capable. And then more and more of us being there will show that, yes, we're capable.
The few women who have gotten, top leadership role, the Chief Justice, Speaker of Parliament, Deputy IGP, Professor Nano Pokuajima, and it goes back. Have they left, an indelible positive mark which stands out so that tomorrow we can say, oh, no, put a woman there again because, when she was there, she did this, or when she was there? Or are they playing it safe? Because I seem to find out when they get there, I don't want to take any risks just in case it goes bad. And so there's sort of a lukewarm leadership. You can't point a finger to say they did anything wrong, and you can't equally point a finger to say they raised it by 200%. And so therefore they fizzle away and not leave enough references to give you, a fighting chance to say, look, these are my references.
I'm hard-pressed to say something different from what you're saying because I haven't read on them. And sometimes we don't do these things till the person is gone. Because there are several people that, you don't read up on until they are dead and gone sometimes. I mean, I'll just give an example of even my father-in-law. He was the first black headmaster after Opokuwari, after the whites had this thing. And there were so many things. It's only when he died and the Opokuwari people wrote so many things about him and the things that he did. And I said, oh, really? I just think he was my father-in-law and, we just had a child and things like that. So the women in those positions, they may be having, they may be doing things. They may be doing a quiet revolution in some of those things, but we haven't documented it yet. So it's possible that they are doing it. But yes, women sometimes do tend to play it safe. They play it safe because what you as a man would do, they would use a negative. They would give it a negative connotation. If a man is pushing and and getting things done, they say, oh, this man is assertive or he's forceful. If a woman does the same thing, oh, she's too aggressive. And sometimes it acts as a drawback.
I've run out of time, but I need to answer this and give 2 minutes. Now, CPP is very, very nationalistic and pro-Ghana. Per the voting pattern, it is clear that Ghanaians don't care about Ghana. Therefore, however positive your message is, it doesn't ring a bell. What else can we do? 2 minutes. What can you do to change your message for people to accept you? Because I don't think there's anything wrong with your message, but it's not going down well with the people.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with the message, but we don't have the megaphone, the platform. We seem to have spread ourselves thin because we don't have the numbers. So not many people are hearing the message. And I think another thing, and that is, I think that in some ways it's also our fault. We have not organized ourselves in such a way that no matter how small we are, we can still shout from the biggest megaphone. And so we need to work on that, because the message is good. We've had some of the most fantastic flag bearers, but the platform that they give, the presidential debate and the interviews and the things are not all of it. We need to actually have the numbers to go down to the people in the remotest of areas and tell them, that this is our message. So we have quite a bit of work to do in organizing ourselves better so that our message gets out there. But I would also say that the people who have to change this country and the voting pattern are the middle class people. Those people who, it doesn't matter whether it's NDC or it's MPP, who are in power. They should look at the message, the messenger, and say we would risk it. They have to take the leap of faith with us, and then we've lost our audaciousness as a people. We've lost the big risks that we have to take, and voting for CPP for some people is a big risk. And that is why but we will work what we can do so that the middle class will not see the risk as being so great and will be audacious enough and take that leap of faith with us.
Susan, thank you very, very much. Well, women in politics are still very relevant, but one thing I got out of it, the women should constitute, gather around so that you have one voice and make or help make the change that Ghana needs. Thank you very much.